Well, this is going to get extremely interesting. Elon Musk just agreed to unban perhaps the second most banned individual on the planet. I guess now that Alex has been reinstated, probably the most banned individual on the planet. Um, Let me lay this out first. This is a huge risk for Elon Musk. That doesn't mean I don't support it. It will paint a gigantic target on his back. That doesn't mean he doesn't already have that. What it is going to do, though, is it's going to show you every barrel that they have. When I talk about they, I mean the censorship industrial complex. This is a wild exchange, and this is a guy who, even mentioning his name on, like YouTube or a big tech platform will get your video buried far below. That doesn't mean everything he says is right. It doesn't mean everything he says is wrong. Like most people who aren't psychopaths, I just either watch content or I don't. It doesn't bother me if it exists. I think everyone has a First Amendment right to freedom of speech. And I think if platforms like YouTube and Twitter and X or whatever and all these other platforms want to enjoy the protections of Section 230, then they should extend the First Amendment right to people. Let's get into how we got here. Because this was a wild thread. First and foremost, because I know this video is going to get buried, please do make sure you subscribe or follow down below and head on over to coffeebrandcoffee.com. Just a reminder, our Mother's Day gift boxes are for sale right now. Make sure you get over there and get them before they sell out. There was a post from Defiant Els who writes, today starts with the cops going after students and their solidarity with Gaza and Atlanta, Chicago, Princeton. The Free Palestine movement, like every single movement for a better world, requires abolition of police. Following up with, white supremacists are now marching in Charleston, West Virginia with no police. Essentially, Defiant Els does very good. Who are they associated with now? What's RTM? Resist the mainstream. Okay. Well, anyway. Hilarious in and of itself. To which Elon Musk replies, goldfish memory, he posted completely contradictory demands only 2 days apart. Then somebody posts this. I assume a fan of Nick or whatever the case may be, with a quote that says, hey, what does it say about our society that cops let BLM torch our cities but won't let students criticize a particular nation? It means that they control America, and it's the obvious conclusion. So it's a Nick Fuentes. So that's a quote from Nick. Now, again, I don't even want to go down that road. I'm not as well educated, well versed. I do know that there was a maximally infringing law on our First Amendment passing through the House yesterday, nearly unanimously, that was in support of specific protections for Israel and specific infringements on our First Amendment rights. So what I can say about that is, while I can disagree with maybe what he's saying here, I can understand why people feel that way, because there aren't any laws specifically saying that you can't say that stuff about white people or black people or Asian people, or their nations, or Africa, or Germany, or whatever. But for whatever reason, there's a law now headed rapidly towards codification that you can't say that stuff about Israel. Now, Elon responds, because he obviously knows who he is. While I don't condone all the actions of any one group, I must admit to being openly philo-Semitic and generally try to see the good in all people. So then you can see, here's another fan of Nick. Obviously, you can usually recognize them very easily. Bring Nick back to Twitter. He's been banned since 2021. What happened to your promise, big guy? And that is true. Elon did say that he would unban everybody as long as they weren't breaking the law. Now, that is not something he's done. there's a lot of accounts that never were unsuspended, many of which were smaller accounts. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have unbanned them. They deserve to be unbanned too. It's just, you shouldn't only look at these accounts with 50,000 followers and say, well, that's who should get unbanned. I mean, they should, but the guy with 0 followers who's using Twitter for 5 years and got banned for liking a meme or whatever, they deserve to come back too. So Elon said, very well, he will be reinstated, provided he does not violate the law, and let him be crushed by the comments and community notes. I think Elon's going to be surprised just how much support he probably has. It's better to have anti-whatever out in the open to be rebutted than grow simmering in the darkness. Or, said another way, the best disinfectant is sunlight. To which Ashley St. Clair, who has Elon's ear, replies, this will get enormous backlash. But if it's to be a free speech platform, it's the right move. I say this as someone who's been viciously attacked by his followers for years now. I do believe Nick was also incredibly radicalized as a result of censorship. That's probably, well, I don't know about, I could say censorship does have an impact on people. It does galvanize them. It's like what I said. It's like, oh, all these people are saying, these people or that people are in charge, and it's hard to refute them when there's a literal law getting passed right now that's going to restrict our First Amendment rights. So, of course, What's Up Frank says, let the comedy begin. Humor is indeed a great way to combat hate. Sneeko coming in there saying, well done. This is going to be an issue. You see failed men coming in with the, valid L's, mail in disguise, all these other accounts that were banned. There are a lot of accounts that have been banned through the years that have not been suspended. But this has the potential. We're going to see everything now. We're going to see the full power of the censorship industrial complex. You can research all you want on this guy, and all you'll find is insane articles from like Media Matters, which are untrustworthy. Or like, again, I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying I don't care. He should have a right to discuss his opinions, and people should have the right to share their rebuttal. In the coming days, you're now going to see the full mobilization of, the industrial censorship complex. You're going to see endless articles from the ADL, Media Matters, and all these other crybully organizations, which is fine, right? You're going to see people pulling advertising revenue. So the entire platform, everybody who's advertised on the platform will feel the pain of this. I'm fine with it. I think that free speech is more important than a few dollars in the grander scheme of things. I already censor myself on one platform. I don't want to do it on any others. So I think that's fine. The bigger question is going to be whether or not X becomes parlored. Does allowing him back on the platform open the door to what happened not that long ago? If you're new, you may not even remember it, but there was a Twitter alternative called Parler that was growing rapidly. Millions and millions and millions of users were migrating to Parler. I think I had 300,000 followers there in a day. I still don't have 300,000 followers on X 10 years later, 5 years later, however long it was. First, hosting providers told Parler that they would no longer host their website. Second, Google and iTunes, Apple, colluded to tell Parler that they would not make their app available on their download store. So within 24 hours, what was due to be a multi-billion-dollar company was completely erased from the internet. Why? Because they wanted to. Because it was too powerful of a tool for Republicans, and a few people who trespassed back in January a million years ago were using the platform to organize. Now they used Facebook to organize too, but if you notice, Facebook didn't get banned. Parler did. Parler now is reduced to basically spam emailing us gold coin stuff now. It's a shell of its former self, and it took nothing. It was a snap. It was completely gone. That app would have been worth billions of dollars, and all that it took was three companies, Google, Amazon, and Apple, to send a single email to each other and say, nah, that's not happening. And Parler was erased. They could in theory do the exact same thing to Twitter now. They could say, look, we're not letting this guy back on. We're not going to make your stuff available on various platforms. Now, yes, Twitter does have community notes, and I think community notes is a great way to deal with, a wide variety of things on the platform. But I do think that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough for the the censorship industrial complex. It just isn't. They are going to want more. They are going to want, this is not going to go over well. They're going to want him banned. They're not going to want to allow this. And I guess it remains to be seen if Elon does follow through with this. Again, I support it. If I don't like what he has to say, I could block him or mute him. It doesn't make any difference to me. But what I'm curious is, how are they going to react? This could potentially spark the biggest battle for free speech in a long time. Hey, maybe he can work with Rumble on Rumble Cloud to host Twitter. If Amazon, I know he's not hosted on his own servers, so there's that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting ride for sure. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please leave a like and subscribe down below or follow, and we'll talk to you again real soon.